So, good morning to you all. Today we'll discuss about the soldering material. So, we know that the solder is an alloy of two pieces of metal of low melting point which is used to join a two or more piece of metal. The process of joining a piece of metal is known as soldering. We know that a piece of solder wire is placed over the joint and heat with a proper temperature. We already discussed it in last class. It is necessary to heat the joint up to a proper temperature. If it is not joined in properly, then soldering cannot be done. If joint overheated, then metal is weakened. This is the point you have to be remember that already we discussed in last class. It is necessary to heat the joint up to a proper temperature. If it is not in proper heated, proper soldering cannot be done, and if joint is overheated, the metal is weakened. Solder in electrical purpose divided into two types. One is soft solder and other is hard solder. Okay, so an alloy of two or more metal of low melting point used for base metal is known as a soldering. The alloy used for joining the metal is known as a solder. The solder is composed of 50% lead and 50% of tin. For proper soldering flux is to be used. In soldering process, the application of flux surface to remove the oxide from the surface is to be soldered. They deoxidize the metal at the time the soldering element is added. The solder are two types such as soft solder and another one is hard solder. So soft solder are composed of lead and tin of a various proportion. Hard solder is maybe any solder with a melting point above the lead and tin solder. So come to what are the different two types of solder. One is soft solder and another is hard solder. We will discuss now. Soft solder are composed of lead and tin and its melting point is lower than 400 degrees centigrade. They are used for soldering copper, bronze, brass and other such metals. These are the used in electronics device. Hard solder, what is this hard solder? Hard solder is an alloy of copper and zinc. Its melting point is higher than 4000 degree centigrade and these are the 400 degree centigrade. 400 degree centigrade. They are used in soldering of iron, gold, steel and silver, etc. They are used for making a permanent connection. So these are the soldering irons with a solder wire and flux stock. These are the flux. This is the soldering flux, and the soldering iron is there here. You have to use. Here we have a like soldering tin. Like this is a solder. Okay, and you have to be joined. These are the transistors. So there are different types of transistors. You have to connect in your motherboard by soldering process. The process of joining of one metal to another metal with a proper temperature, that is known as soldering. So you have to be solder. You have to take some solder here, and you have to join in your motherboard or any electronics device of any electronics. Soldering is necessary for any electronics device. You have to just wait for heat, and after the heat, you have to use the solder to join the process. So to joining the process. Applications. Soldering is used in plumbing, electronics and metal work from flashing to a jewelry and musical instruments. Soldering provides a reasonable permanent but reversible connection between the copper pipes in plumbing system as well as joint in sheet metal objects such as food cans, roof flashing, rain gutters and automobile radiators. Jewelry components, machines, tools and some refrigeration and plumbing components are often assembled and repaired by a higher temperature silver soldering. Small mechanical parts are often for solder of a brass as well as soldering is also used for joint a lead gum and a copper foils in a stained glass work. Electronics soldering connect the electrical wiring to device a electronics component to print the circuit board and PCB, that is we can say PCB printed circuit board, and electronics connection may be hand solder with a soldering iron, and the automated methods such as wave soldering or use of oven can make a many joint on complex circuit board in one operation, vastly reducing the production cost of an electronics device. Musical instrument, especially brass and woodwind instrument, used as a combined with a soldering and brazing in their assemble. Brass bodies are often soldered together, while a keywork and brasses are most often brazed. So next, these are the soldering material we discussed about this soldering material. So soldering is necessary for any printed circuit board. Electronic soldering connected in electrical wiring to device and electronics component to printed circuit board like our motherboard, and electronics connection may be hand soldered by a soldering iron. Automated methods such as a wave soldering or use of oven can make a joint of complex circuit. So these are the different types of application of your soldering materials. Okay, soldering provides a reasonable permanent but reversible connection between the copper pipes in plumbing system as well as joint sheets, metal objects such as food cans, roof flashing, rain gutter and automobile radiator. Different way we are using. Okay, so next come to what is another metal, that is after the soldering metal we will discuss another metal that is a very good, that the name of the metal is fusing material. Okay, so what is this fusing material? This is, you know about, this is a house wiring. We are using our this is a fuse. This is the fusing material. So electrical fuse, we are using our house wiring, we are using the electrical fuse. So what is this actually fuse? A fuse is an electrical safety device that operates to provide the over current protection of an electrical circuit. It is essential component is a metal wire or strip that melts when too much current flow through it. That means so there is a difference between fuse and circuit breaker. So you know the circuit breaker we are using in our now home desk, we are using MCB, that is miniature circuit breaker, that is MCB. So a fuse is an electrical safety device that operates to provide a overcurrent protection of an electrical circuit. It is a essential component is a metal wire or strip that melts when too much of current flow through it. That means its essential component is a metal wire or strip that melts when too much of current will flow through it, thereby interrupting the current. So it is a sacrificial device. Once a fuse has operated, it is an open circuit and it must be replaced by a rewire, and depending on type, like we can reinsert metal wire to our fuse. That is, we will discuss about there are different types of fuse, like low voltage fuse and high voltage fuse. There are different types of fuse. So what is this operation of the fuse? So we know that a fuse is a short length of wire designed to melt and separate in the case of excessive current. That means when excessive current will flow, the metal wire will melt. Okay, that is the point of the fuse. So fuse is always connected in series with the component to be protected from overcurrent. That is the main point here. We will discuss that fuse is always connected in series with the component to be protected from overcurrent, so that when the fuse blows, it will open the entire circuit and stop the current through the components. A fuse is connected in one branch of a parallel circuit would not affect current through any other branches. Normally, the thin piece of fuse wire is contained within a safety 6 to minimize the hazards of arc blast. So, thing is that fuse is used in different purpose. If the wire runs open with a violent force, as can happen in the case of severe overcurrent, we know that when a high amount of current will flow through, then the metal wire will breaks. Definitely, it will make breaks, and you have to be replace that metal wire into a new one. Okay, so fusing material. What are the fusing materials? So a fuse is a protective device which consists of a thin wire or strips. This wire is placed with the circuit which have to protect so that the circuit current flows through it. When this current is too high, the temperature of the wire or strip will increase till the wire or strip melts, so breaking the circuit and interrupting the power supply, the fusing material. So this is the thing of fusing material. We are using the protective device which consists of thin wire or strip. This wire is placed with a circuit with a protect the circuit. So through the when this current is too high, the temperature of a wire or strip will increase till the wire strip melts, so breaking circuit and interrupting the power supply. So what are the characteristics you have to follow for fuse? So there are fusing different types of fuse: low voltage high KitKat fuse, high rupturing capacity fuse, different types of fuses are there. So what are the characteristics of the fuse? A fuse is a safety device. A fuse is a safety device consisting of a strip of a wire that melts and breaks an electric circuit if the current exceeds the safe value. So what is the characteristics of a fuser? It should have low melting point, it should have high conductivity, it should have good economical. High conductivity means it is a low resistivity, because we know that the conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. That means if your conductivity is high, then your resistivity will be low. So that is the point. So these are the characteristics of the fuse. So what are the fuse elements? The point is that these are the metals: silver, tin, zinc, lead, copper, aluminum, fuse elements. And the silver 980, tin 240, 419, 328, 1090, 665. Generally we use copper wire for fuse metal wire. We use copper. So thing is that 980 degrees centigrade melting point, silver 240 degrees centigrade, and this is zinc 419, this is 328, and this is 1090, and this is 665. And the specific resistance, what are the specific resistance is constant. Silver is a 160 micro ohm millimeter mm, and tin 112 micro ohm millimeter, and zinc 60 micro ohm millimeter, lead 210, copper 17 micro ohm millimeter, aluminum 28 micro ohm millimeter. And the value of constant, the K, tin is 12.8, and the lead is 10.8, and copper is 80, and aluminum is 59. So next, fuse element material. So this is the topic. What is the fuse elements material? So the material used for fuse element are tin, lead, silver, copper, zinc, aluminum, alloy, lead or tin. These are the fuse material. An alloy of lead and tin lead 37% we are using and 63% 5%